Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the Institute for Open Learning for the subject Business Studies. I'm Mistress Mwanza, your tutor. The qualifications shown above is an indication that the Institute has the qualified staffs. I can be reached at the above email and the contact number. The class for today will be based on the examination. Then the class content will then include the important topics for the examination preparation. It will also summarize the content or the preparation in terms of the May, August, and November examination. It will also contain or include the examination guidelines that will be before and during writing the examination. The introduction. We are talking about business in the business studies subject. Now, one may ask you a question. What do you understand by the term business? Business is all about the exchange of goods and services. That is either for the profit's sake or not. Now, where does this business come from, or the activity of exchange of goods and services? Let's look at the business activities. The business activities started way back 1,000 years ago, where people used to exchange goods for goods without the money. For example, they used to exchange maize with maize or maize with goat or any other item in absence of money. And such a system was referred as the traditional way of business and was referred as to bartering system. Then came the new technology that involved money. Now the exchange changed from good to good and money. That is, in short, about the evolution of business activity. Now, for one to understand the subject fully and clearly, one needs to first understand the business terms and its importance. The importance of business terms involve or is important to every stakeholders, including the teachers. It is also important to students to understand the subject and the evolution of business as discussed earlier. For the sake of this examination preparation, one must know the business terms. For example, the term economics, the entrepreneur as the person that has the ability to start the business, nationalization and privatization. This is referred as to the transferring of ownership from the state to private, from private to the state. Scarcity resources, the limited that you have. The market, marketing and market research under the topic of marketing or market itself. On capital and the borrowed capital. Then you can continue and read other terms in business studies. It is very important, as said. Let's look at the economic activity and the types of business activity. For the understanding of this, one must know what does the economic system means, which is simply the way in which a country operates in terms of business ownership, or the way such a country or system answers the question of what should be produced with what and by whom. The types of economic systems then includes the market economy, which is also referred as to the free economy, which is then controlled by the private individuals or investors. Such people or entities has the power in any decision when it comes to the business. There is also a planned economy, which is also referred as to the command economy. This is a system in which the government or the state has the overall power in terms of allocation of resources, decisions in any activity related to business. Then comes the mixed economy. This is where you'll find a state that uses both the market economy and the planned economy as one. In short, it's a combination of both. Let's look at the aspect of specialization as one of the important topic in this examination preparation. You need to understand what the term means, which is then referred as to the process of concentrating on a specific item, task, or product. You must also look at the advantage and the disadvantage of such an approach, specialization, where you look at the advantages such as increased skills, increased production, and increased quality in terms of product or production, as to say. The disadvantage will also then include that specialization is always sometimes results at boring, as one does the same thing or the same work every day repeatedly. Low motivation and poor quality are one of the few disadvantages associated to the specialization approach. You are then advised to read more and be detailed when it comes to the advantage and disadvantages. Let's look at the stakeholders in business. Who are they? Stakeholders are the people or individuals, entities who are interested in the business activities, and such people are therefore affected by the business decisions or activities, negatively or positively affected. Such stakeholders, then such shareholders or stakeholders to say, I think there is a mistake on the heading there. It's supposed to be stakeholders. Such stakeholders would then include the people who have an interest within the business and those outside the business. The internal stakeholders would then include the organizational management, the organizational employees, the shareholders now. These are the people who have invested in the business, who have contributed something in terms of the starting capital or the organizational capital, so to say. It also includes the owner of the business. Those are the internal stakeholders of an organization. Then the external stakeholders will then include the customers, the suppliers, the creditors, those that provides finance to the organization, the government, who are then the custodian of the policies and the regulation that regulates the conduct of an organization national-wise. Then it also includes the community in which such a business takes place. Let's look at the private and the public sector in the economy, in the economy or in the country, so to say. We will then look at the two types of the economic sectors. That is the private and the public sector. Whereas the private sector is referred as to organizations that are privately owned by individuals with the aim of making profit or not making profit. The public sector then includes the organization or entities that are partly and wholly owned by the government, and they are referred as to the public bodies. Within the economy, there are times or transactions or activities whereas the organization can be bought, can be transferred from the government into the private control. Such transactions or such change or transferring of ownership is referred as to privatization or nationalization, whereas privatization will then mean buying or transferring of the organization from the government to the private control, whereas the nationalization will be the opposite, where the state will then buy or transfer the ownership of the business into the public ownership. You also have to look at the forms of business ownership. We are referring as to the type of ownership or businesses, which may include the form of a sole trader, one person's ownership, the partnership, where other people have to buy shares or you have to work hand in hand with other business partners, the private limited companies, public limited companies, etc., etc. You are advised to read more, know and understand the forms of ownership. Look at the advantages and disadvantages associated to such forms of ownership. Let's look at the aspect of management. A question may come. Prepare a lesson on the topic of management, which may then include the meanings of the management, the term manager, the qualities and the functions within such an aspect. What do you understand by the term management? Management would then mean the process of organizing, coordinating the business activity. The key aspect is the process. What does then the term manager mean? Within the process of organizing and coordinating such a business activities, there is a person or people responsible with such responsibilities, and these are referred as to the managers. What are their qualities then? Would look at people who can clearly communicate, articulation skills, people with confidence, reliability at which others can rely on or trust, so to say, the ones who has the skills to resolve problems or conflict within an organization. Read in detail and understand what is required to be a good manager. What are the functions of the people who are managing the organizational activities? We look at the planning, organizing, and controlling. In short, read more and understand. Let's look at the aspect of market as one of the important areas in this examination preparation. We will look at the marketing and its important. What do you understand by the term marketing? This simply means the selling of information, letting the public or the customers to know about information, to know about the product. This is in terms of product qualities and other associated information to a product that the owner needs the public or the consumers to know. You must also look at the importance of such an approach within the market. Marketing helps the organization to attract customers. It helps the owner of the business or the product to let the customers know about the product. It also helps in terms of popularity of such a product. That is in short about the marketing and its important. You are advised to read more and to understand its importance. Within the market, there is an aspect of market research, which is the searching or finding of information related to the product or to the business, where you look at the competitor's product, competitors' prices, competitors' competitive advantage, and other aspect. Anything that the business needs to find out in order for it to effectively progress. There are two types of market research. That is the primary and the secondary research, whereas the primary will then deal at collecting information directly from its main source, whereas then the secondary would then mean collecting the second-hand information, like the desk information that you can get from books, publications, and other sources. You are also advised to look at the SMART approach in managing and the setting of the marketing objectives and activities. A question may come: what does the SMART approach stands for? Or can you briefly explain the SMART approach in relation to the marketing activities? We are talking about the specific, the objective must be specific, the marketing objective must be measurable, quantified, it must be attainable, it must be something, the objective must be something and realistically to be obtained or attained. Realistic and time specific. There must be a period at which one aims to end or to obtain such an objective. In brief, that is about the SMART approach. Let's look at the product. What is a product in the business activity? I think and understand that there is no business that is going to operate without a product, because this is the main source of income, or the main source of the business activity, whereas a product is then referred as to what the business offers for sale. Such products comes in different forms. There are customer products, industrial products, service product, place, and people. I know you might not understand when we talk of the place and the people as product, but go through your study guide, you'll then understand what it means, a place and a product and people in terms of product. What are the features that will make a product to be successful? We are looking at the quality of the product. We look at the product, at the price. Is it reasonable? Is it attractive? Is it affordable? There is also an aspect of availability. Is the product available on market? Is it available on time and the customer's needs? Is it meeting the customer's needs? Is it meeting its objective? That is, in short, about the features of a successful product. If you want to be successful, if you want your product to be attractive, those are few of the qualities or the features of a successful product. Then, there is a product life cycle. What does it mean? A question may come. Describe the product life cycle. What do you understand by the term product life cycle? Product life cycle is a period at which a product is developed, introduced in the market, until the stage where a product exits the market. This is when it does not have the market or customers, so to say. The demand is totally out of the market and does not bring profit. And other products or new products have come in to substitute such a demand. In short, about the product life cycle. So read more to understand the stages in which a product comes in, gets the demand decreases, and until it exits the market. That is what I was explaining: the development, the induction, growth, maturity, and decline, in short. Let's look at the aspect of communication and training. Communication is an important aspect in any relation, whether in business, whether in family relation, any other relationship within the society. And training is also one of the important aspects in the business activity, which is then about developing the knowledge. Communication is the sharing of information from one person to another person. This is in the context of business. There are then forms of communication at which people communicate. For example, we use newspapers, emails, telephones, radios. This is to communicate either within the organization or communicate to the outside stakeholders. Those are the customers, the suppliers, a few to mention. Then there are barriers associated with communication. And there are also approaches that can be used to overcome such barriers. My students, you are advised to search and read more about the barriers and the approaches to such barriers. What do you understand by the term training? Training simply means the ongoing learning, the ongoing gaining of knowledge from different platforms as given or introduced by your organization. Such trainings would then include the on-job training, the off-job training, simulation, apprenticeship, a lot we may mention. You are advised to read more and understand for the sake of the examination preparation. We now came to the end of the first part of the content, so to say. We'll now come to the part of the examination preparation and writing guide, as mentioned earlier in the introduction. The preparation before the exam. The students are advised to pray. This is on a social basis. Pray during the preparation. You are also advised and informed that all questions in the examination are from the content of the study guide provided by this institute, the Institute for Open Learning. You are therefore not limited to these provided study guides, or study guides, so to say, but you are also advised to consult other sources that includes the libraries and internet, and even the people that have completed this course. Make sure you understand the unit item, the unit outcome at the end of each unit. Please make sure you get the information about the venue and the time in advance. Do not forget to carry enough materials necessary for the examination. That would then include the pens, a watch, a ruler, calculator, a student card, and any other material that may be required for the sake of the examination. In terms of the study material, students not in possession of study materials are advised to consult the Institute Center. It is also advised in terms of energy that you must eat a balanced meal before the examination for you to have energy and to avoid the unforeseen circumstances. Revision. Make sure that you revise an hour before so that you have time to relax. It is also still advised to revise in the last minute. As the saying goes, the last minute can save a man. During the examination, you are now in the hall. You are seated and waiting for that time to start. You are still socially advised, for those that believes in Christianity, to pray before you start writing. Please make sure you first read carefully the examination instructions to avoid disqualification and the loss of marks. Students are not allowed to take any form of notes into the examination room. Please take notes. You must also consider the marks allocated to each question as a guide in terms of the content required in order to avoid losing of marks. So in actual sense, the marks must guide you on the content that you must answer. Make sure you understand the meaning of the verbs used in the question. For example, if a question asks you to discuss, point out the positive and the negative futures and arrive to the conclusion. This will make your work to seem broader and to answer the verb discuss. Another example is the verb briefly outline. Briefly, just the term itself, it is asking you to answer in short. So do not discuss, do not go broader. Differentiate. This is requiring you to point out the difference. For example, if you are asked a question to differentiate, to distinguish between the term privatization and nationalization, please make sure you point out the difference. List is straightforward. You are not asked to discuss, but only to list. Present a list of names or facts or factors that are required by the question. Compare, differentiate, and look at the similarities. Please consult your study guide. There are verbs provided there for you to understand. This will then be in short about this class for today. My dear students, I wish you good luck.